Hey Sammy, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Everything is fine. By the way, what about El Generico? Is he doing well in Tijuana?
From what I understand, he's doing well. Yes, running the orphanage in Tijuana. That's what I heard last.
Great. One of the highlights of Clash of Champions was the ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. So could you explain us the creative process of building that match so every single spot would make sense in the whole narrative?
It's kind of hard to get into. It's kind of hard to get into the whole crafting of the whole match, but often, obviously, if you kind of know where you're ending up, then you kind of work backwards from there, I suppose, so that everything makes sense, like you're saying. Um, but what I find, without again, it might be too long to kind of go over the whole thing and how to craft the whole thing. But what I'm really pleased with is that it had a little bit of everything, which is sort of what I like about wrestling and good matches. They have a little bit of everything. So there was obviously a lot of character stuff. There was a very clear distinction of the characters of Jeff Hardy, AJ, and myself. I think we all brought something different to the table. There was a mix of good storytelling and dramatics at the end, coupled with some really cool athletic stuff, with some interesting ladder stuff, with some high risk stuff. So when you get all these different elements, to me, that's what makes a match special, or what makes a match memorable. So I'm very fortunate and I'm very happy to say that in the year 2020, we're still able to do a ladder match that surprises people and that people will remember, I think, for years to come, hopefully.
It was great, and I want to ask you about some of the wrestlers that you shared the ring with earlier in your career in the Indies. Are huge stars in NXT right now. So, how do you feel having seen their development in the brand now as a veteran in the business?
Well, so like, who are you referring to specifically? Like Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly,
Yeah,
these types of guys?
yeah,
I mean, these guys are great, and I think there's really no distinction at this, or very little distinction at this point between NXT and Raw or SmackDown. It's just they're on that show, but they could very easily be plugged into any show. Um, and it's cool because those guys, I feel, were like maybe a few years behind in terms of developing on the independents, a few years after, for example, myself or Kevin or whoever. And guys like, let's say, Daniel Bryan or AJ were a couple of years ahead of me as well. Um, so it's great to see them doing as well as they're doing, especially Adam Cole. I got to be good friends with him right as he was starting to make a name, and I was sort of an established name on the independents. Um, and it was really cool to see his development. Him in particular, maybe just, I don't know. I was on a couple of overseas tours with him in Europe when he was first getting out there, and I just remember his excitement and his enthusiasm. Um, and so I'm very, very happy. And I always told him this would happen. And I remember he had a tryout with WWE where he was sure he was going to get it. Everyone told him he was going to get it. He didn't get it. I remember him being very upset about that and telling him, like, look, man, don't worry. You're going to get there 100%. It's just enjoy this time because it'll be gone before you know it. This time where you have the chance to go to Japan, especially now with COVID, where you can't travel the way you used to travel. Go do shows in England, go do shows in Germany, go do Japan, go travel the world. That's before one day you're going to end up here, and then you won't do it in the same way anymore. Uh, and he did, and he's here. So it's just great. It's great to see that he got to do the whole thing. I'm really proud of him and proud of all these guys, Kyle and Bobby Fish and all these guys that I knew on the independents. So it's so awesome to see that all these people that had this passion back in the mid 2000s or the early 2010s, that now 10, 15 years later, we're all doing it. We're all in the business. We're all making good money and telling good stories. It's nice to see.
So thank you so much for your time, Sammy.
No problem. Thank you, my friend.